Now, you were talking about earlier team chasing, point to pointing, Ben. You said you had your licence taken away. Was that because of your eye?
Yeah.
Can you just tell us what happened?
Again, trying to earn a bit of money in the holidays from actually my first, I think it was sort of Christmas holidays of my first year at university. And I was working for a fencing contractor who's a good mate, and I was taking some wire out of a fence that was coming out, and I chopped it to the left of the staple and pulled it from the other side of the staple, and then was sort of towing it out from behind. And it just got stuck, and I gave it a good wrench, and it sprang back and went through my right eye.
Oh.
And it was a bit of a nightmare. I had 3 operations in quite quick succession, and proper operations to try and save the eye. And it is now, I don't actually have any vision out of it at all. They tried to save it with steroid drops and things like that, but they were more hassle than they were worth, to be honest, in the end. And it is what it is, and I don't give a damn what anyone says. Things happen, they open more doors. If I hadn't have damaged my eye, I probably would never have come training so quickly, because I'd have been killing myself to try and do the weight pointing and whatever have you. And everything happens for a reason, and the body's an amazing thing. I still play tennis, not overly well, but you adapt, and your body adapts. But annoyingly for me, I went to the BHA, or the Jockey Club as it was then, to try and get my licence back, because they said no. And at the time I had peripheral vision, so I could tell you where my hands were. I couldn't have told you necessarily how many fingers I'd be holding up or whatever, but I could tell you an object was there. And I firmly believed at the time that was enough to ride, because I wasn't a danger to anybody else, and as well as I do, they're there before you can see them, and anyway, I didn't get it, even though we tried quite hard, and so on to the next thing, and the next thing was...
What age were you when that...
First year of uni, so 19, something like that, okay. 20 maybe.
Well, if you pardon the pun, it's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is.
It made you become a trainer earlier.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, I finished my degree at Reading University in property, just about scraped through that, and had a great time at university, but then went to work for David Redvers, did 8, 9, 10 months with David, and he very quickly said, look, if you want to learn your pedigrees and you want to be an agent, because that's what I was sort of half thinking about at the time, he said, you're not going to do it by reading a book. And I'd worked that one out myself, because, studying was never my forte. So he said, well, why don't you, I've been riding out all over the place and been involved in racing, but he said, why don't you go and try and get a decent assistant's job? And I applied for the job at Nicky's, and that was sort of the start of it. So I sort of jumped straight into Nicky's, into a pretty powerful yard, although I had been involved, I'd done, even from valeting, I'd done a year, a summer with the ground staff at Stratford Racecourse. I'd been the guy who spots fallers and notifies the vets of injured horses or not injured horses from up above at Cheltenham, and radio through them. I just tried to get experience wherever I could. But yeah, it was...
So you covered a lot of angles, you learnt a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
Because as a jockey, so when I retire, I'll have done nothing but being a jockey.
Yeah, and growing up, I mean, we always had ponies and horses, but it was very much, don't get me wrong, Mum and Dad were hugely supportive and drove the whole thing, really. But, I was out there doing the horses, clipping the horses, doing whatever I needed to do to the horses, and through my gap year, we had trained a fair few point-to-pointers, things like that, and it was always something I think that was probably under my skin and was going to come to the top in the end, even though necessarily when I first started, I didn't necessarily think I would have to.
And has in any way what happened with your sort of eye and then losing the licence, did that kind of give you the bit between your teeth, almost
100%.
A small chip on your shoulder, I suppose, in a way, a motivation, I suppose.
And so, everyone involved in racing, whether you're an owner, a jockey, a trainer, a pundit, whatever you are, you're a competitive person because you say, I think this is going to win because of this, or I've set this horse up because I want him to do this today, or whatever. You know, we're all very competitive people, and when you have that taken away from you, like I did, I couldn't even go point to pointing for a year because I couldn't bear to watch other people, you know, doing what I wanted to be doing, and that's what the team chasing sort of took from me, and this is what training racehorses now is for me. It's I'm very lucky to do what I love, but also it gives me that competitive edge that I need to get up for in the morning, and you know. It's a funny thing to explain, but we all understand.
I think we can see in your celebrations after you've had a big winner.
Yeah.
You are notorious for your celebrations, so you can see how much it means to you, and you're filling the void with training winners. I get where you're coming from. It's a bug, isn't it?
It really is, and you know, as a jockey, as a trainer, you have hard times. You're like, oh, gee, when things aren't going right, and I thought to myself once. You know, I think it was, you know, just after Barters had gone wrong and we'd lost Willie, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, you really, you know, how much do you actually want this? And I think the next day I had a winner and I was just like, this is why, because you can't help. Yes, you miss good horses that have taken you to the top, but good God, the fact they've taken you there already is a blessing. And just the fact that even a small winner at a Plumpton or somewhere, I still... You know,
you love it. So what? I mean, actually, the flip side of that, and I'll ask you both this question because as a jockey, you're going to ride more losers than you are winners, and as a trainer, you're going to train more losers than you are winners. How do you deal with the other side of that?
You have to learn very quickly as a jockey, for sure. You have to learn that. And you just have to keep going out there and never lose your confidence, and keep at it and enjoy the winners when they come. I'm right in that respect, aren't I, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if you. Not that I've turned up with 5 bloody good chances in a day that often, but you know, we have had days where you send out 5 favourites. If one wins, it's a good day because you know you've won a race out of 5. It's 20%. That'll do. You know, you can't expect every day to be perfect, and there'll be other days when you turn up with some horses thinking, well, it could be an all right day, and you bang a couple in and you think...
What about the disappointment of losing a horse? Has this happened to you? Lost a horse, an owner's moved yards and someone else has done well with it? Has that happened?
From respect, no. I've been lucky in the fact we haven't lost a lot of horses. There have been a few gone. None that have so far really hurt me. But losing... You know, we're quite experienced in a short amount of time. You know, we've had 2 Grade 1 winners, and one was injured to the extent that he then couldn't fulfil his potential, and the other more recently, obviously, Willoughby Court, who won us our first festival race, which happened to be the Grade 1 as well, in Novice Hurdle. You know, to have had both those horses, and I genuinely believed both of, you know, top class Grade 1 Open, Grade 1 quality, you know, I thought at the start of the season Willoughby Court would be a very exciting horse for the Ryanair if he didn't stay the Gold Cup trip, and Barters Hill was certainly of that ilk. And to have lost them both, we've only been training 5 years, we're in our 6th year. So great, we've had a couple of horses that have got to the top, but you know, we've now got to rebuild, and you know, it's tough because it's always going to be, but We've seemed to have uncovered a few nice ones already this season, and they won a couple of Grade 2s, and who knows? Yeah.